All right, first item is meeting minutes. Everybody have a chance to look at meeting minutes?
Move for approval.
And I'll second.
Motion second to approve, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion's approved. The second on the agenda here is discussion of possible action on proposed City of Hudson inclusion resolution. This was referred by me to the Plan Commission, Finance Committee, and Public Safety Committee for comment. I don't know if you guys, obviously Randy was there for the hearing, but if you had a chance to look at or watch the council meeting from, it was two meetings ago, where we had presented to us an inclusion resolution that's included in your packet here, and the language of which kind of goes in a lot of different directions, and I highly recommend that if you have not seen the council meeting from that night, that you refer to or go online and pick up that discussion, and especially listen to what our city attorney had to say, Kathy McKittrick, and which really was probably the reason why this was referred to the various committees, because it has an impact. As you look at this resolution, it has an impact on all of the areas that are covered by the committees that it was sent to. So it has a fiscal implication, it has planning implication, and public safety implication. And so what we would like you to do is, and we don't need to get into this in great detail tonight because it's an introduction for most of you to what was sent here. But what we would like you to do is take a look at what Mike included as to what the guidelines are for consideration for things that come to this committee, and look specifically at the language that is within our purview. So certainly there are things that, like I said, have fiscal and public safety implications. They are not within our purview. Take a look at the language, tell us what you think, and what we've been tasked to do is come back to the full council probably in October with recommendations for language coming from us, whether you want to amend the language, delete the language, however you want to do it, okay? But certainly it warrants significant discussion because of the implications that it has relative to our comprehensive plan as well as strategic plans.
Are you implying that this will be passed in some form?
No.
Okay. Just
No.
the way you said it, I had to ask that, so.
Fair question, I think, just because,
Sure.
how do we want to change it before it gets passed? And I understand that's not what you meant, but.
No. But you know what, and I have not had a chance to say this yet, but I will, because I sit on two of the committees this has been referred to, but I've mentioned this to a couple of the council members, and I'll say this publicly. Personally, I do not believe that these types of statements should be taking up the time of the council. And I think that there were some eloquent statements that were made during the council meeting that night, and again last night by Councilmember McCormick relative to these types of resolutions and whether they should be considered by the council. Clearly, they're making political statements, and it's a question of whether we believe that our council should be involved in that type of activity. Now, my position on this is that this is an all or nothing type of situation. We are either going to consider every resolution that comes before us, or we're going to consider none. Because I personally am not going to do not want to be in the position to be picking and choosing which resolution is going to be put on the agenda. So, like I said, it will be all of them or none of them, in my opinion.
Thank you for the clarity.
Okay?
I move to postpone then until we can study this further. I did not see that council meeting myself, so I do want to see all that. I've read all this, but I don't think I have the comprehensiveness I think I need to be a viable part of this.
I'll second that.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Randy, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. All right, second item, well, I guess, fourth item. Discussion and possible action on certified survey map, one lot, County Trunk A, Jacobs Extraterritorial Subdivision Review, Town of Hudson, James E. Rush Jacobs, or Rush Jacobs.
Just a second, CSM, that the county needed some additional clarification from the surveyor. It's the same property that we dealt with at the last meeting in our extraterritorial review capacity. This just clarifies it for the county, and then can be recorded, so, I recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on final development plans, Indu Sales and Service, 3400 York Drive.
We saw the concept development plans at our last meeting. Since that time, we've addressed all of the engineering and stormwater concerns that engineering staff had. And I know that Brian's here to present if he'd like on the final development plans, but I'm encouraged with how this deal has progressed, and I look forward to hopefully seeing that site develop here shortly.
I'll move we approve.
Second.
Got a motion second to approve, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion, possible action on concept development plans for the Carmichael parcel ID number 236-1975-07-000, the Gerard development.
Gerard Companies recently submitted these concept development plans for property immediately adjacent to the north of the St. Croix Meadows redevelopment site. The first phase is a tax credit project, a senior housing product for 36 units in the initial phase. I know the Plan Commission had looked at this, I'm guessing last fall approximately, to talk about access to the site and determining what the value of an easement would be. Obviously, they needed to apply for tax credits to WIDA and the Federal Home Loan Bank. And we're since awarded those tax credits, and they're looking for concept development approval. I want to make sure that everybody's aware we're still working through several different engineering-related type, I don't want to call them issues, but issues, road width, stormwater retention pond location. We're looking at the potential, obviously we're traversing through city property, what type of easement would be included in that through construction, as well as maybe some potential for further development nearby. So Peter and Paul are both here, along with Todd Erickson, who's been working on the engineering side. So if you gentlemen want to present on the project, that'd be fantastic.
Welcome.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission, City of Hudson. I'm joined here by my partner and brother, Peter Gerard.
Name and address,
Paul,
please.
yeah, please identify yourself.
420 Fifth Avenue, La Crosse, Wisconsin. So I'm joined here by my partner and brother, Peter Gerard, our construction manager, Brad Corkpine, and Todd Erickson. But before I kind of begin, I'd like to thank the city. I'd like to give a special thank you to Dennis DeArnold in introducing Mike Johnson to us. Our first project up here was back in 1992, so we have a very good track record in your community, and we want to be a part of your community in the future. But like Todd just said, excuse me, like Mike just said, we started this project way back in, I want to say, November of 16 to try and start working through access and determination and what would be possible for this project. And it has just developed and unfolded. So we turned in our civil engineering plans to the city in the time frame. And I was just came up to just thank the planning commission and the mayor and Mike for our warm welcome. And I think that our part is going to be a little bit more when we come back to council and show you, you know, architectural renderings. But Todd's here to answer any questions that you may have of him. And, you know, we kind of do a tag team here. If I forget something, Peter will jump in and say something. But really it's just to thank you for our 26 years of history in this community. So thank you. Todd?
Thank you, Paul.
Evening. My name is
Evening.
Todd Erickson. I'm the engineer for the project. And we're also providing surveying services for the project as well. As Mike had alluded to, there's a few issues that we're working through with staff. We're bringing, from the north from Maxwell Avenue, we're bringing the road section down and creating a full city street section with a full city cul-de-sac at the end of that location to serve this property. That cul-de-sac will then have full turnaround and for fire access to be able to come down and turn around there and entering into the site as well. And I'm going to talking from the layout plan or from a grading plan. You can look at either one of them. On sheet C5 actually indicates quite a bit of information. Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, sheet C5 works pretty well there. So you can see the cul-de-sac up on the north, up in the northeast corner there. The property's a little over 5 acres, and it's down on the bottom of the hillside coming off of the property to the east, and then it borders the dog track to the south. So that south property line, which is that magenta or pink line there, that's the north property of the dog track. So it kind of gives you an orientation there. And so there really isn't an opportunity to get any access along Carmichael. So we're bringing access all the way down from Maxwell Avenue and then creating a city cul-de-sac and city right-of-way all the way to that point. Bringing utilities down from Maxwell, sanitary sewer and water main would be coming all the way down from Maxwell as well. It's at a depth that it works for this site. There's a few areas that we're actually filling over to kind of create a berm to get enough cover over it, but it does work for gravity sewer all the way down to this location. And then we'd also bring the, if you can go to sheet C7 there. There's water main and sanitary sewer showing on that, and then along with the storm sewer and proposed ponding. I'll just touch on water main. There's a 12-inch stub off of Carmichael that we'd be tying into and actually creating a nice loop for water quality purposes and good fire flow for both buildings at that location. The pond that we're showing actually is currently in a low spot that actually is a swale that comes through the site. So in order to put these buildings here, we're actually creating a dam there. And then that actually backs up that ponding area. So we're actually creating a pond there at that location that'll serve some of the impervious, to reduce the rate of the impervious surface off there. And then we also did a calculation on the area to the east where the city owns that property as well, anticipating some type of development there. So that pond is sized adequately to be able to handle that future runoff as well. So and then that water is then routed through the site as it is today, and then is deposited down in the southwest corner into basically an infiltration area to meet the rate and volume requirements of the DNR. So there is an existing pond up on Maxwell, up close to just south of that. The car wash is there. I'm trying to think of there's a couple new businesses in that area. But yeah, there's an existing pond up in that area on sheet C8 there, if you turn to that one. We're directing some water down to a low point in that road off of Maxwell. Actually, it would be extension of Maxwell Drive. And that water then would flow into that existing pond. That pond, it's actually functional. I believe it was designed for the subdivision to the north of this. So we're not adding any more water to that was anticipated to go there. So that pond actually has an outlet structure, has, it's pretty well set up. It actually infiltrates really well. It's well below its normal outflow, so it's taken a lot of water off the system. So,
Are you gonna have any left turn access into this Maxwell going south on Carmichael or no?
no, that's not anticipated at all. We did not think that would be
thank
accepted
you.
or approved, so yeah.
No.
Quick question, why are you having your garages in the front of the units instead of in back? Don't you want to showcase? And why does the city get the back of the garage
Well,
instead of the front?
one thing about this site is that the buildings are actually gonna be about 8 to 10 feet lower than Carmichael, so you won't even see those garages. I mean, you'll see just a rooftop if you do. There's a number of cedars along Carmichael right now that we would end up leaving along there or replanting or transplanting some up there. So that's kind of the idea, is to transplant some of the native vegetation that's there. So, yep.
And to also answer your question, there's a enclosed garage underneath these buildings. Those garages are really set up for second cars or additional space if required. Go ahead.
Is this gonna be very similar to your building behind the Quality Inn?
Very similar, yes. Yep.
Okay, that's what it sounds like.
Hope you like it.
I remember that. No, that's very nice.
Good or bad.
Very nice.
Any other questions at all, or anything else I can answer?
Is there any additional capacity that could be gained by further excavating that existing pond?
Very little, actually. I mean, it's pretty much locked into that location. The only thing, the only way to do that would be to realign Maxwell, kind of come off, but then that would hamper the amount of buildable area to the east. So I think the best thing for the city, in the future, or whoever, in the future developer of that parcel ends up, the best thing to do is to keep Maxwell as close to Carmichael as possible. Then that affords more buildable property to the east. So,
I have a question for Mike. Water and sewer capacity are not an issue?
Nope, it's already in the city, we've allocated
That's
for
been
this area.
accounted for? Thank you.
So you want a motion to proceed?
Yep, I have a number of conditions on there, including, development agreement. We still have, there's a lot of work to do. We just wanted to, or I wanted to specifically kind of just get everybody's impression on this, make sure we were on the right track. That's the point of the concept development plan approval, so.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
With the conditions?
With your
condi-
conditions of yours.
And I'll second that.
Guys in a hurry?
No?
All right,
You have to have a motion to have a discussion, right?
motion and second to, there you go, that's right, to approve. Discussion?
I just want to say I went through the other property that they did up behind the hotel, and they're good people, and they've been good to work with, and they do a nice job, and I don't foresee any difference here either, so if we have issues that need to be fixed, they'll fix them. Simple as that.
Cool. Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved.
thank you.
Thanks, Todd. I've got nothing, Mike.
Looking at our next meeting, obviously we are displaced because the first Monday in September is Labor Day, so council gets moved to the 5th. The submittal deadline for that was last week, so we don't have anything for that week currently. So I'm proposing we just not hold a first meeting in September, and just have our regular scheduled meeting on September 18th, or 19th, sorry. That doesn't work? Yeah, so we'll play it, but what about the 12th, if possible too? Okay.
May I ask a question on another subject? You know, when we put landscaping plans in for a company that comes in, and they plant everything, but then the trees die and it looks unkept and doesn't look real good, what's the city's stance then on that? And I guess I'll be blunt and refer to the General Motors plant. You drive by that, and that berm they've got there, half the trees are dead and it looks pretty ragged. And I'm not trying to be rude, it's just, the purpose of that was to shield it and make it look good, and I don't think it's accomplishing that right now. That's my opinion.
Generally, what I'm used to in a situation like that is we'll have maintenance bonds on their landscaping, a surety of some sort to make sure that any tree that does need to be replaced gets replaced, or we have the financial mechanism to be able to do that. Our code, I don't know if we've,
It's beyond the warranty too.
yeah, and beyond the warranty.
That's because that was a while ago.
Well, I mean, landscape warranty is typically a year, so.
No, I know, and I guess,
Right. And I don't even recall how old that building is now, but.
You know, and I think it kind of brings to mind just another thing that I think we need to take a good hard look on a total rewrite of our zoning code. It's probably time.
I mean, nobody's approached them to see whether they'll just take care
no,
of
I
it.
know that, and I just thought, you know, you drive, everybody that sees it goes up and down that road, and, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has noticed it, but take a look and see what you think.
Yep.
That's
So,
all.
well, look for emails from myself or Liz to figure out what we're gonna do for meeting in September. We'll figure something out. But I don't have anything for that first week right now, which is a welcome reprieve.
You get to breathe once, huh?
Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
I didn't even have to go to council last night. No, lots going on. So, I mean, we'll have something, we'll be working through the final development plan submittal with Gerard's, and I'm sure we'll have to meet sometime in September. I just don't know when.
I move to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn, second?
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion's approved, stand adjourned, thank you.